We're in San Antonio, Texas. It's May 13th, 2004, Game 5 of the Western Conference semifinals between the Spurs and the Lakers. LA is inbounding the ball with 0.4 seconds remaining, down 1 point. Once those fractions of a second elapse, someone here is going to walk off the floor a hero. You might already know who, but they don't. Some of these guys already feel like the hero, or hope to become the hero, or wish they could have been the hero, but they don't know what to expect. To get in their heads on the precipice of this legendary moment, we're going to need to rewind. The Spurs and Lakers know each other very, very well by this point. As soon as Michael Jordan's Bulls broke up, Tim Duncan and the Spurs took over, sweeping the Lakers on their way to winning the 1999 NBA championship. Immediately thereafter, former Bulls coach Phil Jackson took a job at the Lakers and commenced a new dynasty. He led Kobe, Shaq, and the gang to 3 straight championships in 2000, 01, and 02. Those latter 2 championship runs included dominant series victories over the Spurs. But things changed between the Lakers and Spurs in 2003. In the 03 Western Conference semifinals, San Antonio held home court advantage and commanded Game 5 at home until the Lakers made a 25-point comeback. LA set up a chance to steal the win when Robert Horry, long known for his prowess in the clutch, squared up from downtown. But the man nicknamed Big Shot Bob missed that big shot. The Spurs survived to win the game, then the series, and eventually the championship. And that summer, they won Big Shot Bob, too. Horry switched sides, leaving the Lakers to sign with the Spurs, ring chasing long before it was cool. Horry's been very quiet in this series against his old team, but maybe that's because none of the games have required any big shot heroics. They've all been decisive wins. San Antonio won both the first 2 games by double digits, and when the series moved back to LA, the Lakers won both those games convincingly. So for the second year in a row, this Game 5 feels like a pivotal juncture in the 7-game series, and once again, Horry's had a chance to decide it. With a minute to go, Manu Ginobili made an incredible save and gave Horry an opportunity to put the Spurs up 4, but he missed it, badly. So yeah, Big Shot Bob got his big shot and he bricked it. Robert Horry, you are not the hero. But the Spurs are gonna win as long as they get a stop, so who is the hero? Until moments ago, I would have said Devin Brown. Who? This guy. Let's rewind. Devin Brown is an undrafted San Antonio native who played for teams like the Kansas Cagers, got cut by the Spurs a few times, then finally got a steady job with his hometown team this season. And tonight, he's answered the call. Besides Tim Duncan, everyone's been kinda shit for the Spurs. The first half was a parade of turnovers. There was a stretch spanning the second and third quarters in which the Spurs had 13 turnovers in 14 minutes. San Antonio cracked 40 points in the middle of the third quarter. The Lakers led by 16 at one point. It was disgusting. And then Brown took over. He had a 10-point third quarter, keying a run that brought San Antonio back within single digits while Los Angeles went cold from the field. Devin Brown really looked like the hero of the Spurs comeback for a while there, until Tim Duncan happened. Duncan hasn't really had a sharp game by his standards, but he's been gobbling up rebounds off all those misses, and he's hit a couple banana shots in this fourth quarter. And, down 1 with 5 seconds left, Duncan caught an inbound pass, dribbled directly into the defense, faded to his left, and chucked a shot high over Shaquille O'Neal's outstretched hand. It was one of the biggest, ugliest shots of Duncan's career. He couldn't even see the basket, and he buried it to put the Spurs ahead with almost no time left. So yeah, handle these next 0.4 of a second, and Tim Duncan is clearly the Spurs hero. But the Lakers do have the ball. They have a chance. It's unlikely, but one of them could be this game's hero. So who could it be? If you haven't been paying close attention to the Lakers this season, you might be kind of perplexed by the options. The Lakers won a lot of games this year, but it was still an exceptionally strange season. Pretty grim, honestly. Back in the offseason, Kobe Bryant was charged with sexual assault. Since then, he's been flying back and forth to Colorado for legal proceedings, even during the playoffs. This is a challenging situation for people trying to cover Bryant as a player.
There's no heroism there. Just an amazing thing in a physical sense to think a guy can put his body through that.
Kobe's also been back at it with Shaq, publicly feuding over whose team it is and whose team it will be when Bryant's contract expires this summer. Meanwhile, Phil Jackson's contract is also running out, and there's tons of speculation that he might not remain Lakers coach after this season. And just to make things additionally weird, but in like a harmless basketball-y way, 39-year-old Karl Malone and 34-year-old Gary Payton both picked a really strange season to chase rings and join the Lakers. But here they are. Superstars who are old and or hate each other and or are currently embroiled in a sexual assault case, coached by a dude who might be leaving soon. One of them's gonna have to get something done in less than half a second. What can they even do here? 0.4 seconds is almost no time, but it's not no time. And to really understand that distinction, we're gonna need to hit them. Mega rewind. In 1989, the NBA decided to start measuring time more precisely. With under a minute to play, the clock would measure tenths of a second. This change would soon get tested. In January 1990, the Knicks were playing the Bulls. The game was tied with 0.1 seconds left on the clock when New York inbounded the ball to Trent Tucker, who immediately caught it and launched a jumper that went in, winning the game. The Bulls' rookie coach, Phil Jackson, protested, saying it was humanly impossible to catch and shoot a basketball in 1/10 of a second. The protest didn't do anything to change the outcome of that game, but Phil did have a good point, and the NBA quickly adopted the Trent Tucker rule. There had to be at least 0.3 of a second on the clock for a player to catch and shoot the ball. Less than that, and you gotta tip it. So one of the Lakers is gonna be able to get an actual shot off. It's just gotta be uncomfortably fast. Who's it gonna be? Shaq and Kobe stand out as obvious options. But Shaq's had a rough night, and even if that weren't the case, there's no way the Spurs are letting him receive a lob right at the rim. Meanwhile, Kobe's clutch shooting is a major reason the Lakers and Spurs are even playing right now. The Lakers were actually on pace to be the 4 seed, where they couldn't have met the Spurs until the conference finals. But Kobe hit 2 huge shots to win LA their final game of the year versus Portland, thus propelling them to the 2 seed, which set them up for this second round showdown. Kobe's been deadly in this series, especially in Game 4. Tonight, well, he's kinda gone cold after a strong first quarter, and he was notably silent while the Lakers blew their 16-point lead. But he did hit a big shot to put LA ahead with 11 seconds left. So how can LA get Kobe the ball? Well, let's go back a bit, because several real-life minutes have passed since that Duncan shot. First, the Lakers lined up in a stack, ready to spring out in all different directions. The Spurs took a look at this, then immediately called timeout. Then the Lakers came out looking more spread out. Kobe set a sort of flimsy pin down for Shaq, then darted to the corner, but found himself smothered by 2 Spurs. So the Lakers called timeout. And now they're stacked up again, and the play call is clear. Shaq is rolling to the rim for a potential inbound lob. Kobe's scrambling up top to receive the short pass. But once again, the Spurs are hell-bent to deny all of that. Kobe's doubled every step of the way. Shaq's wrapped up too. But Payton's got to get rid of the ball now, so he looks at the only available option, Derek Fisher. Fisher, like everyone else, is in a weird spot this season. Last year was one of the best for the career Laker. He started every game of the regular season and was the closest thing LA had to a 3rd star in the playoffs. This year, Payton's been around, and he's still considered a star even in his old age. So despite being 29 years old and fresh off a strong year, Fisher's been demoted to the bench. But in a game like this one, where both teams have been kinda trash and points have been hard to come by, Fisher has proven invaluable. He's doing all that scrappy, hard-nosed playoff shit. Which is to say, he's flopping like his life depends on it. By my count, he's drawn 3 charges tonight. That's one way to leave your mark on a playoff game. That said, if the Lakers don't come up with a miracle, Fisher's gonna lose sleep. This easy layup Fish missed to end the first half didn't seem like a big deal at the time, but since the Lakers squandered that big lead, it feels monumental. So yeah, if there's gonna be a miracle, it's gonna have to be you, Derek. Thanks to a rule his coach helped clarify 24 years ago, Fisher knows he has enough time to catch and shoot. As long as he misses, the Spurs will have pulled off a remarkable comeback, keyed by a little-known local kid and capped by Tim Duncan's bizarre final shot. They'll take a 3-2 lead for the 2nd year in a row, setting up an opportunity for another series victory in this long-running rivalry. If Fisher somehow pulls this off, everyone forgets the blown lead, and that Duncan shot, and, at least for the moment, the unrelenting ugliness of this whole Lakers season. LA will be the first team in this series to win on the road, with a prime chance to finish this thing off back in LA. And a longtime Laker who got benched in his prime will get to be the hero. Okay. Welcome to a moment in history.
They get it to Fisher. He scores! Derek Fisher scores at the buzzer!
The Lakers did end up winning that series, but they did not win the championship. However, Gary Payton did get his ring in Miami with Shaq. And of course, Phil Jackson and Derek Fisher went on to have long and fruitful careers with the Knicks.